Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Telit Cinterion webinar, Leveraging IoT for Security and Surveillance Applications. I'm Amanda Flink, Head of Global Events here at Telit Cinterion, and I want to start by introducing our speakers today. I am pleased to be joined by three Telit Cinterion speakers. First, Dennis Kelly, SVP of Security Vertical, Gregoria Silva, VP of Technical Sales, and Greg Oppenheim, Head of IoT Solutions Marketing. Now, just before I hand it over to Greg to start our presentation, I have just a quick reminder for our audience. Please be sure to check out the resources section for some additional information. There you can find a few links to assets related to our topic today. Also, we will send out this replay link to all attendees at the conclusion of the webinar. And with that, Greg, I will hand it over to you to start our discussion today.
Thanks, Amanda. Today's webinar will cover several critical aspects of smart security and surveillance applications. We begin with the synergies between IoT and security, exploring why this combination is ideally suited for enhancing safety and operational efficiency. Next, we'll discuss the essential elements that make up this ecosystem, ranging from technology to data transmission reliability. Following this, we'll highlight the pivotal role of connectivity solutions and how they integrate seamlessly into our offerings. We'll conclude with a look at the comprehensive support structure we provide from initial deployment through ongoing maintenance. Let's begin. Dennis, Gregorio, thank you so much for joining us today. Dennis, let's begin with you. What makes IoT perfectly suited to smart surveillance and security applications?
It's a good question. So, I think there's a number of different elements that kind of go into that. But to simplify it, I think it breaks down into what I would say is four different things. Flexibility, so a technology that can be used both in a static environment as well as a mobile environment. Bandwidth, the ability to do everything from a low bandwidth type of application where you're just sending little bits of data all the way up to what you can do for the broadband side of things. So streaming video, things like that. Security, the ability to be able to secure the hardware, the software, and even the carrier level layer, I should say, independently, but also together. And then I would say portability, the ability to say that you're going to design and future-proof your application because technology changes so quickly. It fits in the niche that it allows you to design for an application that you can deploy for many years using many different technologies.
Thank you. Would you be able at all to elaborate on the essential elements that enhance security and surveillance through IoT? Beyond what you've already discussed?
Yeah, some keys to it are, like real-time monitoring, the ability to monitor, like in the case of like a alarm panel, to be able to either do it professionally or through self-monitoring, like you do in the DIY space. The alert portion of it, being able to instantly receive notification of an event, and then the ability to respond to that remotely. I'd say the enhanced data analytics, utilizing things like AI, that ability to be able to integrate that technology into a camera and use that camera and have that camera learn the difference between your cat or your dog, per se, and a human being that might be in your house that should be there. So it's not sending a false notification out because, Snoopy's running around and playing with his ball versus someone who's actually an intruder in your home and gives you the ability to understand the differences between the two. And then, I would say, just as important, if not more important, is the security, improved security features like Secure Boot, being able to have a device be authenticated against hackers or people with ill will that want to be able to corrupt or attain your sensitive data.
Interesting. Thank you. Gregorio, can you help us understand the pieces that need to be brought together here based on a standard security application? Can you take us a little deeper?
Sure. So for the new communications ecosystem, we have several parts that need to be brought together. Not only the device, the network, and also for certain applications, positioning are important. All of that have to be a part of a service with real-time data that is reliable. Reliability is the most important element for emergency systems. It is also what makes the system possible for being used in emergency situations. It's pretty common for customers to see the modem just as a component, the network just as a service, but actually they have to realize that they have the obligation to provide real-time data when you're talking about emergency communications. This is why reliability is the main element, not just being able to connect, but do that in a reliable manner.
Can you expand? You mentioned real-time data. Can you expand on the function that it plays in IoT for security applications?
For sure. There's not only the need for transmitting that real-time data to a server, but also it has to fit certain protocols. You might have applications that have to use systems such as E911, where the data is not being sent, but it's being sent through a specific format, where the modem and your application have to be certified for. So it has to work within a specific system that belongs to government agencies and other similar services. In other situations, you are providing real-time data to similar government or customer-oriented portals, but through your cloud server. So you have to make sure that all of that is flowing to your side so you can then transmit that to your final end user. And real time means the reliability of all of that end to end. And this is where a properly selected provider such as Telit can give you that reliability that you want on the modem side, but also interpretability through the network, making sure the protocols are correctly supported, and positioning is reliable, which is one of the parts where we're truly reliable and we can differentiate ourselves through the modules too.
Dennis, can you help us understand? We know that there are several elements from our discussion so far that are critical to a solution, to a security and surveillance solution. Where should somebody start or begin to think about things?
Yeah, so look, a company like Telit, Cinterion, we're supporting, probably 500 plus different verticals, other than security. So we build products for a general purpose, and then we kind of focus in on a specific vertical and what's important to that vertical. So I would say the first thing that you want to consider is you want to work with a trusted partner. And so that's a partner that's been in this space for a period of time, that has a long track history of innovation and quality. They understand not only the technology, but they understand your specific vertical. And so in this situation, we're talking security. And so we want to be able to, work with someone like that who's been around a long time, who understands, who's been through the technology evolution. So they're just not talking about what's to come. They understand where we've been. And so, that's just as important as what we're seeing, when you start talking about 5G and RedCap and all these other newer technologies. It's just as important to understand what happened in 4G, 3G, 2G, TDMA. I mean, it goes back. So again, a legacy of technology and growing the market and understanding what's important to the vertical. But you need to be able to work with someone and that can take you through the process, right? Walk you through the integration process, and then, parallel to that is the certification process. You want to make sure that you pick a partner that has a cybersecurity plan. These days more than ever, we're getting hit with new regulations and new requirements. and much of that is centered around cybersecurity. So obviously someone who has a plan, who's addressing what's happening in the market today, but also is nimble enough to be able to address future needs. And I think that goes in parallel to that legacy of evolving and the technologies and understanding, all the way back, backwards and forward, what we're doing here in the IoT space. So very important. And then, lastly is roadmap. We talk about how important it is to be able to future-proof your design. So what are you doing today? And then where do you want to be in 10 years? And is that partner going to be someone who can take you there? There's very few people in this space that have done it for a long period of time, like Telit Cinterion. But it's important that you use somebody and that you partner with somebody who really understands that.
No, it makes complete sense. You touched on end-to-end security. Gregoria, can you help explain that concept to our audience, especially in the context of IoT applications, end-to-end security for IoT applications?
Sure. End-to-end security can be seen in different matters. The first one is from development to the device being on the field. So the device has to be developed to be secure. It will be a part of a compliance verification process. But also after being shipped, it has to be maintained to remain secure. A module allows you to have a good foundation for all of those steps. Compliance is a difficult topic where a module adds a lot of value. So lots of protocols, expensive certificates, expensive testing processes, they are provided through the fact that you're using a module. So this is a way of focusing on your application. So on the development aspect, the module provides several security features. On the verification aspect, those features are pre-validated and certified according to government and other agencies. And in terms of maintenance, the modem provides mechanisms for remote updates, remote management that can keep the device secure through its life cycle. Another element of end-to-end security can also be seen that from the factory to the field, you also have to be end-to-end secure. And this is something that customers ignore often because they see that their device doesn't have to take solutions where you don't actually have a secure element on your manufacturing cycle. But when it comes for the time that you're actually manufacturing a device, your costs are either going to be high or you're not going to be truly secure, because customers usually don't consider how their data, their secure data, their secrets are being handled on the assembly line. And that can be a big vulnerability for applications. Telit provides that through the fact that we can ship modules with predetermined identities, so you don't have to be concerned about managing that at your own factory. That's one of the solutions we provide. But there's also a huge set of features that allow customers to leverage the modular aspect of using something that's already well developed and secure, and leverage those features for their application.
Very interesting. And you mentioned the importance that customers need to be aware, especially in this space, of the fact that there are security risks that exist even before that product, in this case a module, is brought to market. So very important for our audience to consider. Let's shift gears. Dennis, can you help us understand a little bit more about the technology and that are available for security and surveillance applications, and what the different use cases are?
Sure. So on the technology side, we talked about it earlier. It's everything from low bandwidth type applications where you're just sending an alert, like there was an event in your home and on your alarm panel, or like a window was open or a door was open, and it just sends a little bit of data to provide a notification that event happened. But then you can go all the way up to, streaming dashboard cameras, right? So more of a broadband type of solution. So the technology is vast in this space. Some verticals, they use very little technology and need very little bandwidth. And then there's others that, they need a lot, right? So there's things like the traditional home security panel that everybody's really familiar with. That can be either tethered to, or it could be separate, being a security camera. So again, some people they don't have a security system per se in their home, but they set up security cameras, and that can be, outside. It can be, like I said, part of the security system that's already in the home. Dashboard cameras, as I said. So that can be used for both driver safety on the consumer level, but also could be used for public safety and the safety of officers in the field, and also to document what happened in the field during a traffic stop or an incident that might have occurred. There's also PERS device, so personal emergency response systems. That's that, hey, I've fallen and I can't get up kind of thing that you see on TV. And a lot of them are tied to traditional security companies because they already have that call center, which allows whenever there's a notification, it's being fielded by a professional, and then they're deciding how to react to that. Is that something that somebody just dropped their pendant? Are they really having a life-altering event, and we need to get first responders on the scene? So that call center helps with that. Then you go into things like doorbell cameras, CCTV cameras. So they could be high-rate security cameras that you see at, in New York at the Lincoln Tunnel or something like that. But a lot of them are outdoor cameras. They're made for the weather. They're extremely intelligent. They can have night vision. They pan, tilt, zoom in, and they're usually high-end systems. And then, like I was talking about, public safety. So you have body-worn cameras, again, for recording events that happen, and that can be streamed or it could be loaded into a memory that might be in the patrol car. There's panic buttons. So an officer or a fireman or someone, a first responder, is in a difficult situation and they need help immediately, and they hit a panic button that might be on their person, and they get an immediate response to that. There's things like remote police dog releases. Again, an officer is down or needs assistance and has a police dog. They can press a button, the car door opens up, and it releases the dogs. It's an oldie but a goodie, but it's another application within the security side of things that wireless technology is used for.
Excellent. Clearly, a lot of applications and use cases, and the available technology to support those. Gregory, you talked at the beginning a little bit about the network component as one of the key elements in the total solution. Can you talk a little bit about how Telit Cinterion facilitates connectivity solutions for security applications? Not everybody may be aware that Telit Cinterion is in fact an MVNO.
Exactly. We can provide SIM cards with actual data plans for our customers. So apart from the module and the platform, which is the cloud server, what sits in the middle, there's the connectivity. So we provide connectivity through partnerships with the existing MNOs that exist in the US, Europe, and in other locations. You would either roaming or you could be using a native connection. But what matters is that we have the technology either through roaming agreements, through regular SIM cards, or multi-IMSI SIMs. We have the ability to provide the best coverage. This is different than having a single service provider, let's say a single carrier in a specific country. because with our SIM cards, you can leverage all of the existing carriers that you might have in a region. And if you have lack of coverage for one of those carriers, the SIM will connect to the other one that's available. We have different data plans. So depending on the type of SIM, it'll be purely roaming, it'll be multi-MZ with native profiles for each country. But what matters is that with the technology that we have, we can provide you with the correct data plan that's tailored to your needs, and then you're going to leverage the best coverage possible. All of those services are available not only for the device, but also for your backend. There are APIs and other elements that will allow you to fully manage the data plan. So you're not just buying a data plan. You're buying a managed data plan that can be connected to enterprise systems that will provide you with data for you to feed it into your data intelligence backends, into your device management backend. So the SIM is fully manageable from an API perspective too.
So not just coverage, but really control for the customer. Very, very important for sure.
And Greg, if I could, I just would add to that
please.
Everything Gregorio said is spot on, obviously. But you can't undervalue having a single vendor that can support both your hardware and connectivity needs. We refer to that, internally as one throat to choke, right? So if you have an issue in a normal situation, you're calling the carrier, you're calling the module manufacturer, and you're having these separate conversations. By using our connectivity and our hardware together, you call one person. And I think even if you don't use our connectivity, it makes us a smarter company. But obviously, combining those two things together and understanding how the module works on the wireless network and vice versa, I think it's a better end result for the customer, and there's real value there.
Sure, and that value, I would imagine, is enhanced by their cost efficiencies as well, with dealing with both addressing both of these critical needs within a single provider. So certainly worth considering. Yes,
you can also go further, right? Not just being more efficient in cost, but Dennis mentioned something really important. When you're dealing with a single supplier that has all the technologies under control, things such as the factory provisioning for eSIMs, activation services, and the full support over the life cycle, they are only possible if you have that kind of provider that has end-to-end solutions.
Right.
You might leverage good data plans from our competitors and might leverage other features, but having the module provider provide you all of those services all tied together into a single brand, into a single relationship, is not only more efficient, but makes customers access better technology. Factory provision is a big example of that. And you cannot just get the same experience out there with multiple providers, but with us, because we have the hardware technology, the SIM technology, the SIM data plans, and we have full control over the cloud ecosystem, and also we are knowledgeable about the cloud ecosystem, we can make the customers go further.
So for those out there with plans and projects on the horizon, certainly worth considering these important points and additional values inherent in what Telit Cinterion offers the market. Dennis, take us through some of the key considerations for actually deploying IoT in a security application. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a couple different aspects you have to take into consideration. There's the whole someone comes to us with a great idea, but they don't know how to execute it and what step goes first and what follows that and all. So I mean, it always starts with the design, right? And understanding what kind of features are required for the application. So, does the application being deployed, regionally, like just here in the US or in North America in general, or is it an application they want to deploy worldwide? What are the technical requirements that, especially in this space and security? Some applications require voice. Some don't. Some are data only. So does it require voice, or is it a data only application? Do you need Wi-Fi or some kind of short range technology to make this work? We also have a full line of short range technologies that we can provide along with GNSS products. So do you need positioning like GNSS? So there's the feature part of thing. There's the carrier and the carrier certification. What carriers do you want to work with? If you're deploying worldwide, do you understand, where you want to deploy and what your deployment schedule looks like, so that we can make sure that our certification schedule, especially if it's a new product, is aligned with your needs. So there's that design aspect of it for sure, that there's many questions that you have to answer. And luckily, when you work with our people, they're fully equipped to ask those questions and ensure that you pick the right product, and that that things work out according to what you need and when you need it. Then there's the partner side. I think I touched on this a couple times already. Is that working with a trusted partner? I mean, it's not just about the technology and price. It's also, we're seeing today more than ever, there's geopolitical issues. So, using the right partner that you're not going to have an issue with on the regulation side, or, that you're working with someone who's going to meet TAA compliance and the other compliances that are critical to deploying, especially if you're in a government situation and deploying. So there's some of the things that you really need to consider when you're going through something like this. And the integration, it's a big deal. So there's the software side, there's the hardware side, there's a certification side. There's a lot to be considered, and maybe you're even working with an ODM or something else. So all that goes into play.
Last but not least, let's take a look at the critical aspect of getting the customer to market. Throughout the webinar so far, we've had a chance to touch on individual areas and highlight some very important considerations, as well as Telit Cinterion's ability to meet those needs in a meaningful way. Gregorio, please touch a little bit more on the comprehensive support that Telit Cinterion provides and the ongoing maintenance. Why should this really matter to a customer?
For sure. We provide a professional support structure for our customers. And on top of the regular support experience, which is having an engineer allocated to your account, periodic meetings if needed, the comprehensive support structure surrounding documentation, email support, and even in-person visits, we standardize some of those aspects through the services that are shown on the screen because they're really important. So they're separated from the regular support experience because they're actual services that are focused on specific needs, such as reviewing your schematics, reviewing your layout. Those two elements together, we call that design review. Mm-hmm. So you can rest assured that the device design for whatever matters to the modem aspect of it or the module that you're using from us was fully validated by the manufacturer of that component. We can be there for our customers and validate their designs. On top of that, after a prototype is done, we can validate their audio circuits through our chambers in our HQ. Also, antenna validations, we have a calibrated OTA chamber to provide pre-certification testing for our customers, which is included in RF conformance testing. We can be there for our customers through all the process of doing compliance and approvals with MNOs, MVNOs. In some cases, this is necessary, and also the regulatory certifications. We can provide support if you're failing at the lab. We will talk to the lab. We'll evaluate the device logs and make sure that this is not something that we can help on the modem side. If that's the case, we will. But we can also provide some good insights of what could be wrong on the customer side or even on the test lab side. So we can be very useful for that step. We have a pretty good relationship with the carriers. This is pretty important, especially in North America, to have a good relationship with the carriers, and you can leverage that relationship when you're one of our customers, but also production support. It's really important not only to have a device that works well on a prototype, but manufacturability has to be efficient for our customers, and we can be there for customers, especially with the new technology such as eSIMs. That not only makes you more efficient, let's say on an engineering level, but this is a product feature for our customers. Our customers' products will be better if they use eSIM technology properly. And that requires a lot of production support. You got to be ready on a production line for that. Mm-hmm. And also on rollout and activation, with all of the services we provide as part of our eSIM ecosystem, our ability to control data plans to our cloud servers, and everything else related to One Edge platform, SIMs, again, it's a huge set of features and other features that we can provide. All of that, it's, as you said, is after a device is really roll out to the market. We are also there for our customers in that stage. So the maintenance stage and the operation stage, we are there with our customers too.
So really staying side by side with our customers, really throughout the entire process, post rollout even, and over the life cycle of the product. It's pretty remarkable. Dennis, why don't you wrap this up for us? What would you say would be the key takeaways for the audience today? What do you want to leave them with?
I would say, like, in general, I mean, look, this space is growing exponentially year after year, and there's more sub verticals that are being added into it. And just IoT in general, anybody who peruses the internet or is in this space understands that more devices are being connected, and it's happening, in multitude on a daily basis. You got to pick the right partner, right? That's the key thing, right? And we would say we're the right partner because of all the things that we talked about already, and the connectivity part of things. We didn't touch on things like our IoT solutions, the ability to build and support customers' applications, our platform, our primary, with the hardware and the cellular side and the GNSS side and the short range side. But again, you got to pick the right partner. Security is one of the largest verticals worldwide. And when you look at the research firms and what they're saying about growth, it's scary. And so we're, scary in a good way, by the way, not scary in a bad way, scary in a good way. And personal safety and public safety is becoming much more relevant as we move through these times. And it's playing a key role in supporting and securing lives everywhere. So from the consumer side, things that people want information from, and they want to be able to access that information. From the public safety and law enforcement side, it's for first responders. They're being asked to do more with less as budgets become tougher and personnel becomes tougher. IoT, allows or provides the bridge between the information and the things that have to happen in real time on the street. And so, for me, it's a critical part of securing the country and the world. And it's a necessary evil in a lot of ways. But it's a positive thing because we see the growth, we see the evolution of technology, and we see how that technology is being used for the good of mankind. So I think it's positive across the board.
Well, it's a great way to wrap things up. Dennis, Gregory, I want to thank you both so much for your insights and perspective on Telit Cinterion and obviously IoT and its incredible opportunity to support security and surveillance applications. Amanda, back to you.
Yeah, guys, really, really great discussion here. Just before we end, audience, I am going to drop a poll here on your screen. If you would like to have one of our experts contact you directly. Perhaps you have specific questions about your project that you want addressed. Please respond here on the poll, and we'll be sure to have someone reach out to you. Again, Greg, Dennis, Gregorio, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you everybody who joined us. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Take care.